Imagine losing everything you hold dear, your spouse, your dreams, even the small fragments of happiness that tether you to life. Now imagine someone takes away the last symbol of that love, leaving you with nothing but a hollow shell of grief and rage. How would you respond? For John Wick, the answer is simple: you fight back. But is John Wick's response truly philosophical, or is it purely emotional? Beneath the blistering action and relentless pursuit of revenge lies a deeper question. Does John Wick embody the principles of Stoicism, or does he deviate from them entirely? John Wick isn't just an action hero. He's a man grappling with loss, navigating chaos, and finding meaning in his pain. This video will explore how John's actions align with or diverge from the ancient Stoic philosophy, known for its emphasis on emotional control, accepting fate, and focusing on what is within your power. By the end, we'll answer a fascinating question. Is John Wick a modern Stoic, or is his philosophy something else entirely? Let's dive in. What is Stoicism? To understand whether John Wick is a Stoic, we first need to understand what Stoicism is all about. Stoicism is a school of ancient Greek philosophy founded by Zeno of Citium around 300 BC. Its teachings revolve around mastering your emotions, accepting life's hardships, and living in harmony with the natural order. At its core, Stoicism is about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The Stoics emphasize 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom helps you make rational decisions. Courage allows you to face adversity. Justice ensures fairness in your actions. Temperance teaches restraint and moderation. Perhaps most relevant to John Wick is the Stoic idea of accepting fate, known as amor fati, or the love of one's fate. No matter how tragic, a Stoic learns to accept life's hardships as part of a greater plan. So, how do these principles apply to John Wick? At first glance, he appears disciplined, purposeful, and calm under pressure, traits that suggest a Stoic temperament. But when it comes to loss and revenge, things get complicated. John Wick's approach to loss. Loss is the defining catalyst of John Wick's story. When we first meet him, he's grieving the death of his wife, Helen, who succumbed to an illness. For John, Helen wasn't just his partner. She represented a chance at redemption, a way to leave behind his violent past as a hitman. Her death leaves him unmoored, a man without purpose. In true Stoic fashion, one might expect John to accept Helen's death as an inevitable part of life. After all, the Stoics believe that loss is a natural occurrence, something we must face with rationality rather than emotion. Epictetus, another renowned Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do." Initially, John seems to embody this principle. He channels his grief into quiet introspection, finding solace in the last gift Helen left him, a beagle puppy named Daisy. The dog symbolizes hope, a reminder that love can endure even after death. But when Daisy is brutally killed by a group of thugs, along with the theft of John's car, his composure shatters. This moment marks a dramatic shift. John doesn't accept this loss with Stoic detachment. Instead, he reclaims his identity as a lethal assassin and embarks on a quest for vengeance. From a Stoic perspective, John's response could be seen as an emotional failure. By succumbing to anger and grief, he relinquishes control over his inner state, allowing external events to dictate his actions. Yet his journey isn't just about revenge. It's also about reclaiming agency in a world that has wronged him. This tension between grief and purpose lies at the heart of whether John Wick can truly be considered stoic. John Wick and revenge is a central theme in John Wick's story, and it's where his philosophy becomes most complex. For the Stoics, revenge is inherently problematic. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Stoicism teaches that vengeance only perpetuates the cycle of pain, dragging you further from the tranquility that true wisdom provides. John's quest for revenge begins with righteous anger. After all, the loss of Daisy isn't just about the death of a dog. It's the destruction of the last piece of Helen he had left. His revenge is deeply personal, fueled by grief as much as fury. But is his revenge rational? The Stoics argue that rationality is key to virtue. Revenge, driven by raw emotion, often leads to irrational decisions. John, however, is methodical in his approach. His actions, though brutal, are calculated. He meticulously dismantles the network of those who wronged him, showcasing discipline and focus, traits admired by the Stoics. Still, his pursuit of vengeance raises questions. Is John seeking justice, or is he merely indulging his rage? Justice is one of the Stoic virtues, but true justice is impartial and seeks the greater good. John's actions, while understandable, are deeply personal. They don't restore balance, they simply settle a score. Interestingly, John's revenge also comes with a cost. Each act of violence pulls him deeper into the underworld he tried to escape. His vengeance isolates him, turning him into a figure of relentless destruction. This self-destructive spiral contrasts sharply with the Stoic ideal of inner peace and emotional equilibrium. Is John Wick a Stoic? So where does John Wick stand in relation to Stoicism? On one hand, he embodies certain Stoic virtues. His discipline, courage, and focus under pressure are undeniable. He's a man of action who doesn't waste time lamenting his circumstances. He takes control of what he can. However, John also diverges from Stoicism in significant ways. His grief and anger often override his rationality, leading him down a path of vengeance that the Stoics would caution against. His actions are driven by external events rather than inner tranquility, and his pursuit of revenge ultimately traps him in a cycle of violence. Perhaps John isn't a pure Stoic, but rather a practical Stoic. He applies certain principles of discipline and purpose to navigate his chaotic world, but he struggles to fully embrace the emotional detachment and acceptance that Stoicism demands. In many ways, John Wick represents the tension between philosophy and human emotion. He shows us that even the most disciplined individuals are not immune to the pull of grief and anger. His story is less about embodying Stoicism and more about the struggle to find meaning in suffering. Conclusion: John Wick's philosophy is a fascinating blend of Stoic discipline and raw humanity. While he demonstrates traits of a Stoic, courage, focus, and resilience, his actions are ultimately driven by grief and revenge, diverging from the Stoic path of emotional control and acceptance. But perhaps that's what makes John Wick so compelling. He's not a flawless Stoic or a perfect hero. He's a man grappling with loss, seeking justice in an unjust world. His story challenges us to think about how we respond to tragedy and whether we can find meaning in our pain without being consumed by it. So is John Wick a Stoic? Not entirely, but his journey offers us profound insights into the human condition. If you found this analysis intriguing, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think John Wick is a Stoic, or is his philosophy something entirely different? Let's discuss.